It is shortly after 1 p.m. on 12/31/2021, and I wanted to make a follow-up on the video I made yesterday about Jade Protocol in anticipation of the document release that I thought was going to happen today, but actually came early, about 11:30 last night. Einstein dropped it on Discord, and then shortly after dropped it on Twitter. I actually happened to be watching the Discord at that time for some reason, and I was like, "Wait, what? It's coming like basically 12 hours earlier than I thought it was going to." So, and then everything kind of went on a wild ride after that. It was pretty exciting stuff. I didn't end up going to bed until maybe 2:30 in the morning. Thank God today is New Year's Eve and no one's working, because otherwise I'd be a mess this morning from not getting any sleep. But it was very exciting, and I'll talk about all that. So where we left off yesterday was this was pretty much the chart. We may record the video yesterday um, about 9:30, so the chart would have ended about here. Um, and that's even a significant jump from 18 all the way up to 32. But then what happened? The document jump was, I guess it must have been around midnight, around somewhere around there, because once the document jumped, the price of Jade like literally just spiked. Like I said, I was pretty sure, and then it's been kind of like bouncing around $65 or $60 or so since then. Um, So yeah, as far as my predictions, I was right about a couple of things. I was right about the spike, and I think it's just going to only go up for over the course of the next week, and I'll talk about why. By the way, I should mention I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is merely my thoughts and opinions. I'm a pioneer in the crypto space, same as you. So you can take my advice or leave it. I always appreciate constructive feedback. So, anyways, with that aside, yeah. So we had obviously the giant spike, and then like I said, over the next week, I believe it's going to continue to go up. The document is right here. If you haven't read it yet, I'll put a link to it down below. Um, I was right about half of it. I was right that it was a lot, mostly a lot about the the floor price, which I'll talk about in a second. But I was not right about anticipating that this was going to be about the Avalanche launch. They didn't mention Avalanche once in here, so I don't know if that's still a thing. We'll see, have to see. But either way, so I'm just going to quickly go through this. I'm not going to read it, the whole thing. You should read it, but I'll just quickly give you my take on it. So he's talking about how all the ohm forks all have been listing this backing price, but it's not actually that's not a functioning like price floor. And he says even right here, what do you think happens when it hits that price? And the answer is nothing. We had this sort of psychological uh, illusion that the backing price was actually backed by some mechanism that would kick into gear if it hit that price, but there's not. So what they've instituted here is what they're calling the rising floor, which is basically what we thought was the backing price before. And what this is, so he gives a quick summary here, but then he actually gets into the sort of meat and potatoes of it down here. Oh, down below, whatever, it's fine. So the buy bot is basically like an AI algorithm that would be analyzing the price of the market, and then what the buy bot will have is they're going to split the treasury. I'm going to go to the lower part. Yeah, here. Okay, where it says explain in detail. All right, so they're basically splitting the treasury into two sections. They're gonna have the investment treasury that's going to be investing in VC projects, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Yield farming, so that'd be like on any kind of yield farming on PancakeSwap or whatever. And then on there was a third. I forget what the third investment method they're going to use, but there's three of them. And then the backing treasury is going to be what the buy is basically going to be the war chest for the buy bot. So whenever the price starts to get near the backing floor, the buy bot will, using the backing treasury, will buy up all the lower positions. So there's going to be nothing but upward pressure on the price. So basically it's the buy bot defends, if you will, it defends the price floor. So that's what they're. So basically, when you think about it, the floor price and the buy bot was basically what we sort of all assumed this mechanism was. We all assumed that, at least I did, assume that there was some sort of algorithm, like buy bot kind of AI that would be maintaining the price floor, and then and then whatever. So anyways, so the rising floor is actually that mechanism, and the idea is it's going to be, it'll be set to a certain value, and then it's just going to constantly be rising after that. And their goal that they're shooting for is 1,000, that the price floor would be $1,000. So if you buy in at $100, which is not even at $100 right now, then that would be a 10x opportunity. So so yeah, so that was I did think that they were going to talk about that in this document. The other thing that that they talked about, so like I said, they didn't mention the Avalanche launch, but this is the other section, is the VC portion of it. And so traditionally VC funds, it's pretty elite circle of who decides who gets funded, who doesn't get funded, and it's kind of like the gatekeepers of the tech world. I've been in tech for 2 decades now, so I've had personal experience with this. But it's kind of what they're doing here is they're basically open sourcing VC funding, like searching for VC projects to fund. So what they're calling the Alpha Army is basically all of us, the people that are holding Jade. Or actually, as a matter of fact, I don't think you have to be holding Jade. All you have to do is submit a proposal. And by the way, the link is right there. And this is the form to submit any proposal. So what you need to do is you need to fill out the details. So this would be any project, not necessarily a project in crypto, but any project in the tech space. You basically go over this is like the elevator pitch, right, of what you think. And then if you're, so obviously they'd be getting loads of submissions, and then when they'll have a team of they already have a team of people that will go through the proposals and basically filter out the not nonsense, but the non-promising proposals, and then the top crowdsourced proposals will be presented to the community to vote. And so if you haven't seen where the voting proposals page is, it's just vote.jadeprotocol.io. And so basically, if you're holding Jade, you can come in here and vote on which projects the VC fund will fund, which is pretty cool because basically the community of 100 million plus holders of Jade will be voting on which projects get funded. Again, it's not just crypto; it's any tech company. And then if you propose a project, startup that will go through the gamut, first go through their filter of filtering out the nonsense projects, and then onto the projects that will if your project gets all the way through, you'll be rewarded $100,000, probably in BUSD or something like that. So that's really cool. So I believe anyone can propose a project. I don't think you have to be a Jade holder, but even if you're a Jade holder, it's not a big deal. Okay, so and they go over the reason for the VC and all of that, and then so basically, in a nutshell, what they're saying here is Jade Protocol is pivoting from a Ohm fork with the rebasing and all that over to what they're calling a utility token, but basically it's a decentralized VC fund to fund tech startups, that's really interesting and pretty exciting. But anyways, so let me talk about the rising floor versus the fair market value. So I just talked about the rising floor. That's pretty easy to understand. I think most of us assume that this mechanism already existed anyways. Not the rising floor, but the buy bot thing. But what they're doing is they're also calculating what they're calling the fair market value, and the fair market value is calculated based on the right here the total treasury value. So that would be the investment treasury plus the war chest for the buy bot divided by the unstaked circulating supply equals the fair market value. So that's the key part of there is the unstaked. That's the reason why they're still encouraging people to stake is because the unstaked is basically tokens that are actually in circulation, which can drive down the price rather. So that's where they're getting the fair market value number from. The fair market value number is going to be obviously above the floor price, and then the actual market Jade price will theoretically be floating around the fair market value price. That's an important step to remember because you're going to be seeing in a minute that the fair market value is significantly higher than the current Jade price. That's as far as bonding goes, they're kind of trying to actually discourage bonding because they're trying to reduce the amount of Jade actually in circulation. Because they're trying to convert it more like they were saying into a utility token. They don't want it to be something that's like traded like crazy, which is why they started that FUD campaign that I mentioned in the last video, and why they're trying to buy up as much as Jade. I think he mentioned somewhere that they basically divided the amount of Jade in circulation in half, yeah, like over the last week, I think. So that was their goal because they really want this to be utility. They don't want this to be like a speculative thing from now on. So they go over, yeah. So this is what they're saying is they really want it to be utility token. So yeah, so there's a little quiz here at the bottom if you want to take that to basically see if you understood everything. I took it. I don't know if I did any good in explaining it, but hopefully I did. And there's a reward if you did it right. But so a couple of things changes. First of all, the calculator is gone from the actual site. If you notice, there's no APY anymore. It's been completely removed, and the reason for that is like I said, this is converting from an ohm fork, where you're like rebasing and getting a high APY, etc., over to a utility token that's value is based on. This has actually gone up $100 in like an hour. Huh. Okay, that's probably going to keep on going up. It's a utility token that's based on the value of the venture capitalist projects that were investing in the yield farming, etc. Um, so yeah, so if you notice, like I said, the fair market value, they actually list the fair market value here. On the dashboard, they actually list the floor price. So the floor price right now is set to $15. Um, I have a little theory, that the reason why Einstein was trying to encourage us to push it down to $10 is he probably had, if you remember, I was talking yesterday about how it basically stayed above 17. It never dipped below 17. My theory is that basically he had this floor price set to either 15 or 17. I think it's 17 because that's where it kept on bouncing off of, to test the buy bot. I think he was having us test that mechanism before announcing it. He did mention in the documentation that they had turned it on a couple of times to test it. So I think that that's what was going on. I believe it was at 170 for a little while too, because it kept on bouncing off of 170 for a while. So anyway, so the floor price is currently set to $15, and then actually I should mention on that topic, um, he says the first week of January. Yeah, here it is. For the first week of January, we'll be adding funds to the backing treasury at random intervals, pushing up the floor price consistently for 7 days straight. So they're gonna. So in other words, hang on. Sorry, wrong button. All right. So the price right now is about 55, and then they're claiming the fair market value is 555, according to that calculation I showed you a minute ago. So they said over the course of the week of January, they're going to be increasing the price, the price floor, so that they'll probably be driving this price up. So I mean, going from 55, they're not going to go all the way up to the fair market value, but let's say they go up to half that. Like if you look at that chart, it was actually, I think it was down. Yeah, right here. Okay, so fair market value, like just guessing from the chart here, like so let's say the rising fair market floor price would be like let's say 50%, 50% higher than like double the floor price. So if that's the case, then if we take this number, this is just purely speculation guessing right now. So we take this number, divide it in half. So let's say 250, right? And then that means that this would be a 5xer over the course of the next week. So because tomorrow's January 1st, right? And then so that means this would be times 5 over the next week, which would be great. So yeah, so like I said, it's pivoting away from being a ohm fork, and the APY is gone away. And so one of the things in Discord was this basically for the last 12 hours is this kind of made me laugh. Everybody's asking like, what's the API? Why? Like, why are we not rebasing anymore? But the reason is and everybody's like, did you read the documentation? Because the documentation clearly states that like this is we're now pivoting to a utility token, and there's still plenty of ohm DAOs out there. Sorry, ohm. Let me see. I can show you. Olympus DAO forks. There's still tons of them out there. So there's plenty of opportunities in other ohm DAOs, but there's loads of them. So like on Binance Smart Chain alone, we got like 14 here. So yeah, there's plenty of them. So Jade Protocol is no longer one of them, but it's going to be a utility token. One of the points that I was thinking about it is this rising floor price. If this mechanism works, the buy bot works, which I'm pretty sure it will, then think about it this way. This is a very safe investment, a very safe long-term investment. So you could, I mean, again, not financial advice, but if this was like a retirement investment, for example, and let's say the price was just around the rising floor price and you bought in, then your investment's only going to go up. So this could be a safe long-term investment because with this mechanism it's not going to go down. So Jade's, in my opinion, is converting from a kind of a highly speculative, risky investment into a more safe investment that's value is backed by all the VC projects that they're investing in, as well as yield farming. And then let me see what the other one was. Yeah, and they said the VC fund investments, yield farming, and trading desk. So I'm not quite sure what they mean by the trading desk. They might be implementing like a trading desk, like an exchange. That'd be kind of cool. But I mean, there's a million of them out there, so I don't know. I guess it'd be kind of cool. But anyways, I want to keep this one fairly short, so I'm gonna call it there. They are gonna have another announcement, another document coming up. I don't see where it is. They said it somewhere. They're going to have another document coming up in about a week, and so I'll probably make another video about Jade when that happens. But in the meantime, like I said, they're going to be driving this floor price up over the course of the next week. So I would anticipate the value going up even further over the next week, and then so not financial advice, but if you had a nice gain over the last 12 hours, I would just continue holding if I were you. That's just my opinion. Again, not financial advice, but yeah. So happy days. It's going to be an exciting couple of weeks. All right, I'll leave it there.